Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
So we're restarting this for obvious
He kept
reasons.
working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery.
So this is just...
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
So
Like
this
a whole
is just a
new
recap
Lewis.
of everything that we've done.
So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
He made a friend.
He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever.
Reliable, I wasn't doubting at all.
And one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor.
He won.
And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
His mom even came.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Mrs.
Minneapolis. Until
Same
one day
thing.
he forgot to go home from the cannery.
His mom begged him.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
I'm gonna do the same options.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
Because this one could already have
beautiful prince.
a handsome princess with me. So I don't need a fucking handsome
The prince was on his own quest for
radiant rainbows.
radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of his silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it.
Oh fuck.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping sand,
So we're back
but
where
the
we
one
were.
climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
That's what was meant to happen. So I'm still me.
He began to forget the world we know.
That was the talk.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Am I gonna kill myself?
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him.
That is not fucking
Even after
salmon.
he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
See, that's a fucking saxophone, not a flute. That was the same one in the fucking beginning. I said that isn't a flute.
Including the wise Calico that insisted on advising him.
Yo, this fucking music fog.
His prince waiting.
I like
holding
this
his
one the
crown.
best. So far.
There was only one thing left to do.
Die.
Bend down his head.
Yeah, sure, why not?
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
So he fucking guillotined himself. What a... Yikes, dude. At least he wasn't, like, knowing of it.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
I already talked about that.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
That's a bitch move.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
My mom's a bitch.
I wish we'd stayed.
Yeah, it makes a fucking noise over here. Not as satisfying, but...
But I understand why we left.
Why did we leave? Edith and Mom.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Why?
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Is this Edith's room?
But it had to end
No, it
one way or
isn't.
another.
Is this mine?
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
I'm missing Gus and Dawn. But, oh well.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Oh, did you say library? I have a present for you in the library. Oh, I didn't hear
Who you're
that.
afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Fuck. I hate stories like these. Makes me
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning.
emotional.
Okay.
History of the Finches.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Wait, can I walk to the house?
First and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. No, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
No, I didn't. I know where it is. I just need to keep on walking.
Around.
That is not what was there. Wait, wait, wait. Now.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
Hello, dear. I'm going in the right way. Whoever says
Things
otherwise
I'd forgotten
is a
had
lie.
ever existed. But
bag.
when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom,
No.
you're gonna rip it. Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
You dumb. Oh my god, I hate this.
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot.
Bitch,
The
I
rest
was trying to
happened
read.
pretty quickly.
Haha, she's dead.
She got better for a while,
It got worse.
and then she didn't.
Why do you hold your mom like you're giving her a handshake?
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
But who did it?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
The fuck am I?
This journal was supposed to be for you.
Don't tell me that's my vagina.
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Like,
I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
That is a vagina. Okay.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
I didn't get to all the people. I think that's the end. That's the end of it. I didn't get to all the people. The story wasn't. I liked it. It got sad at some points. Because it's meant to make you feel sad. I'm glad it did. So Emily, if you're watching this far, I love you. And just want to say, I'd like to spend time with you. Ay, Nacho. Come on, Catrina. Emily, you're a dumbass for eating the Olive Garden right there. You're so dumb. I don't want you to get sick. The end. Tia Tahim. So the only person I missed was Gus. F. Thank you for watching my stream. I hope to talk to you guys. To the only 2 people that are gonna watch this. Love you, Emily. Sapphire, you're a real one. Hope we still stay friends for a decent while. Oh wait, I can do Gus right now. Let me do Gus right now before they leave. I leave the fucking not party, but in the broadcast. Not sure you're scared. Come on.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Let me kill the fucking mom.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Oh, fuck.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Not Gus. I'm gonna get struck by lightning.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said was, make the music louder. I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Oh, it's right next to it? I'm dumb. Yeah, okay. So let me repeat this, what I said before. I love you, Emily. Sapphire, you're a really good friend of mine. Hope we stay friends for a hella long time. I've always been able to talk to you that always allows me to that's comforting. And that's the end. I'll live stream another game soon, I guess.